Girl, I don't know. We're figuring it out. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in Cities Skylines 2 playing our city of Walden. And she's looking great. I mean, there's a little traffic, but all around, she's looking really nice. Now, this traffic, what is this now called? It's called Union Bridge, which I like that name, and I hope it doesn't change. So, Union Bridge. There's a lot of traffic here, but if you look, there's a ton of bikes and a ton of people trying to get through. I think if these bikes weren't here, we might have a bit more success moving the cars around. So far, all the buses on here have a decent number of people using them. And I am, at least for now, I do want to try to keep this bridge if at all possible. And I know I don't actually need it to be this high, but if we didn't, then the ferries would be raising this bridge every 6 seconds and nobody would get across. So what I want to try to do is two things before we really get into today's episode. The first thing I want to do is I want to build some type of bridge that allows our bikers to get over to the other side. Because pedestrians I'm not really concerned about. They can walk the sidewalks. Although, are there even sidewalks here? Oh, there are. There's like a glass sidewalk moment. Oh, it's like a grate. Okay, yeah, so pedestrians are not a problem. The issue I have is with our bikers. So let's look at these bridges. So the first bridge we have is a cable-stayed bicycle bridge. This is just 20 meters high. That would work. Can I get this through? Like, let's pick, let's go right here. I'm not going to destroy anything right now, but let's just pretend we were going to. Can this actually fit? Okay, this can fit around the ferry line we have. This one here has a little bit too many supports to be able to get around that ferry line, and yet this one's similar in that it has a lot of support. So the only real option we have is the cable-stayed bicycle bridge. I could also just do a regular schmegular path, but again, a lot of supports. Okay, so really this is our only option, the cable stay. Now, looking at this side, we don't have a lot of options. I could destroy some buildings here, but I don't want to do that. This building takes up the entire block, so that won't work. We just redeveloped these two sections, I believe, so they look pretty decent. I would like to keep those for now. These are level 3, level 3. Yeah, I'd like to see these continue to grow, so we're going to leave those be. Or we can come over here and destroy some of this, but that's a little close to Union Bridge. So I think our saving grace is this little sliver right here where there are trees. There's a little spot where this would work. So if I was to turn everything off except for the angle, I do want angle. I need this to go right here. Is there any spot where that's realistic? No. Can I turn everything off but angle? And we find a way? Like, it could go diagonal, but it can't go straight. I'm not against diagonal. So we're going to turn on snap to zone grid just to get our first piece right in the middle. And then we're going to send this straight across here. How does that look? I mean, it's quite tall, but it's a bridge. It's going to be a little tall, you know? All right, let's connect this guy right up into here. Do we think people... Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy, people are using it. So hopefully over time, that's going to help alleviate some of the stress here on Union Bridge. But we can already see people going back and forth. And it just gives us another bridge here along the riverfront, which is really nice. Now with that, I also was thinking about this intersection here. We've got a 4-way intersection. Some of the lanes have bus stops on them. Are they still used? No, these bus stops are no longer in use. So I'm actually going to go ahead and clear those out. We don't need them. And I would like to just give a few more lanes to this road here. I think considering this road here, what is this called? Pemblebrook is our only avenue in our city right now going towards the water. I think we need another one right here. So we're going to do a little bit of work in this section. Let's grab a 4-lane road, and I'm going to do 4-lane divided because I'm trying to be prepared for a future where I also want to add in trams. The question is, where does it go? I feel like it goes right here. Right? You've got a clear turn lane. It's a little bit of a wacky intersection, but that's okay. And I am going to quickly just delete... Ooh, I don't want to delete all of that. We're going to do it like this. We're going to just bring a road out here, get rid of this. The reason for this is I would like to go ahead and upgrade this avenue, this road here into an avenue. Right. Then, now that we have an avenue here, we can go right to the middle. We can connect right into our avenue and head down straight and in. Beautiful. We will reconnect this little section here. And I think this will actually be on a curve. What if we did this right here like this? And now we have an avenue headed down this direction. Unfortunately, though, I don't want to just end the avenue there. So that means we're going to have to delete some things. So, to get this to work, we're going to lose a few houses here. There we go. So now we've got a much better connection there. I do have to make some adjustments, though. We do not need a crosswalk here because of the pedestrian path. This intersection doesn't need a light. We don't need a light or a path here. With all this, though, we did lose some things. So we're going to remove this. And this platter doesn't seem to be interfering too much with anything. This was regular zoning. Okay, I think some of this is probably just fine as is. I don't love how this is looking, so this might need to be changed up a bit. That's definitely a block that's going to be redeveloped in no time. Let's grab the Netherlands medium density row houses. We're going to switch over to platter. Let's just get another set of townhomes in here. Now they're going to be back to back. That's okay. Just suspend disbelief for a minute. Just for a minute. And then we're going to grab some of these other houses and just plop them in using the eyedrop tool in spots that we need to fill. Now we have opened this little section up. So what I think I'd like to do is this. I'd like to get rid of this path. And instead I want to try to replace that corner lot we had. If we go to filter, it's definitely a Netherlands style, and it's definitely a corner lot. It's one of these. Yes, it's one of these. Give me a level 1. It's this. It's this right here. Yes, it is. That's fantastic. And then I am going to just scoot this tree over. If only it was this easy in real life to move trees. Just scoot that tree over. Beautiful. Bob's your uncle. Look at that. We've got an entirely new avenue coursing through the city. Now, if I look at our bikes, this is kind of all evolving one after the other. We have a little bit of a bike lane here, which does look like it is interrupted. And I guess that's because we have bus stops along this road. So I would love to see this whole lane here become a bike lane. Our whole road here become a bike road. So let's do this. We're going to just go boom, all the way down and through to here. All this now has bikes on it. The bikes end around here. That's fine. We could put bikes along the one side so that they can connect over to this section. And I think right here is our bike entrance. So I think this whole road is also going to get bikes on it. Now, with all that, I've destroyed a ton of parking spots. So now we've got to build a parking garage. I think what I want to do is I want to get rid of this parking garage. It's too small. I don't actually think it meets our needs at the moment. So I think it needs to go. And instead, I'm going to place a regular parking lot over here. Oh, it's going to remove all of those. I don't necessarily want all those things removed. What do we have going on here? This is a mixed-use housing. Is there any business in here? There is a business in here. They sell food. And this is a lodging business. All right, here's what's going to happen. We're going to replace this block with a parking garage. I'm going to replace the block with a parking garage. Let's get rid of this platter block and this platter block. And while we're here, get rid of that platter block. All right, as expected, there is some traffic trying to get into this parking garage. However, I think this will correct itself with time. I mean, this parking garage is going to fill up pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and just give it the upgrade. It needs it. And it's really actually not that terrible. Okay, we're going to leave that like that. Let's turn our speed back down to 1. And let's figure out what's going to go here. What if we did a UK high density housing? Is there one that is that size? 2 available. Perfect. Let's see what we get with that. A little bit different style. Haven't tried that yet. Here, we can fit a 3. We can't fit a 3x6, but we can fit a 3x5. So I think we'll do the same high density housing right there. Different size, different shape. We'll see what happens. We do have an exit right here that I think we should leverage. So I'm going to grab just an avenue and connect an avenue right up and in. Bam. So now we've got an exit for this multi-level parking garage. And then I think we just need a few trees around here to make this chestnut. Give me my chestnut. Let's go. So a little bit of redevelopment happening there. We've got better access here for everyone coming into the city. Okay, with all of this, I think we need to think about two other things. One, we've got all of this demand for industry. And I've not really done a great job of keeping up with our industry. First things first, though, we're making buku bucks. So let's go ahead and reduce industry down to 10%. And for everything here that's at 11, let's reduce those down to 10 as well. It's going to impact the kind of money we're bringing in. I'm not super concerned about it. It'll stop people from complaining that their taxes are too high. Now what I want to do... Oh, look at that. She looks great. It's actually like a great replacement for the previous one. And I like that there's space around the building. I'm just kind of... I want to see this one get built. So then, in addition to that, I want to start thinking about some additional industry. And I thought we could build something I've never built before. The offshore oil drilling. There's some oil over here that we could pull from. We could also pull from right here, but this is a lake. And so, or I guess a bay. And I don't necessarily want to pull from here. This feels a little strange to me. Instead, I'm going to pull from over here. So we need to make a purchase, at least of a tile. Let's go ahead and just grab maybe this one. Oil deposits. Or do we want to grab this one here? Can I bring back on our natural resources? I wish this was this. But then again, this is a really strong tile for this. So we're going to grab this tile here. We're far outside of where our city is. So let's go ahead and place down some of this oil industry and just see how this works. So offshore oil. Road required in water. So this needs to be on the edge. Okay, we're going to have to buy a few more tiles. See, I've never done this before, so this is kind of new. I think we're just going to go straight down here, and we'll use this tile here, right? Not too bad. What's our ground look like? A little crazy. If I was to grab this height and just give this a nice little flattening, almost like we're going to build a little key area here. All right, so now we can place this guy right here. We're going to place our offshore drilling building right there. That's great. And then I don't even need a key for this like I thought I did. So instead, let's figure out how this works. Oil Harbor Pier. Oil tankers dock at the Oil Harbor Pier to unload their cargo. Okay. This can go diagonal. That's fine. What if we did this with a curve? Just a little curve, just enough to get this like over this direction. It doesn't really work with the that attachment they want to add. All right, it needs to be straight. So I think, oh my goodness, we're so close, but so far at the same time. Let's go ahead and just delete this. And apparently we're keeping that too. All right, get rid of that. Let's rebuild this, but build it just a little bit further down. That should be enough for me to connect into here and just go straight on out from here at the 180. Beautiful. Okay, that works. Now what we got to do is do a compliant tower oil platform. The compliant tower oil platform extracts and processes crude oil from rock formations beneath the seabed. Designed for shallower waters, it is stationed closer to the shoreline where it remains anchored to the ocean floor. Okay. And then you also have the semi-submersible oil platform. Semi-submersible oil platform is a specialized marine vessel that extracts and processes crude oil that is found in rock formations beneath the seabed, engineering for deeper waters. It is positioned further from the shoreline, floating on partially submerged pontoons. So, I mean, I feel that this would just go right here. Bam. No? Am I crazy? Connect the compliant oil tower oil platform and offshore oil drilling harbors, transporting crude oil from the drill site to the shore. Okay. Okay, hold on. So then I'm going to take this. Girl, I don't know. We're figuring it out, I think. We need a narrow seaway. So let's just go ahead and do this. I'm just going to send it straight on. Actually, you know what? We're going to do a little curve. We're going to make it look nice. Let's go ahead and just grab angle. We're going to go just like this, up into here. And then we're going to also send one down this direction and over to here. So we got a nice little loop. There we go. Now, do you need to connect to this? Or does this need to also be here? Requires an oil pipe connection to the offshore oil drilling harbor for transporting crude oil to the shore. Requires an oil tanker route connection to the offshore oil drilling harbor for transporting. Got it. We could add in some tankers. We've got small, medium, and large. The large tankers, although huge, would look very cool. So actually, let's do this. It's a lot of trial and error here, but I think that's okay. I'm going to further flatten some of this out. Kind of along the edge here that we have here. I wish I had this as a key because that's a great looking building. And I'm going to place 2 of these next to each other. Better yet, I'm going to move them right here so that they're next to the road. Now, with this, I do also think we want to incorporate some type of parking here. We're going to have people who have to work here, so I don't want them to be like, oh, I have nowhere to park my car. That really sucks. And then what we're going to need to do is get a connection all the way over to the other side of the map. Now again, that road's probably going to change a ton. But now we've got a road that connects all the way over to here. This little guy here is still angry that I haven't connected him. So again, we're going to turn on anarchy just for a moment. Just so that I can connect this up and in. This is just so that that stops yelling. Okay. Then we need an oil tanker to find its way over here and back again. Why not have 2 of these? If I was to then connect this seaway back again, just like so, then we could go from here to here. Why don't you want to go this way? I want you to go like that. Yeah. Okay. So now we've got some offshore oil going on. I particularly like this yellow colorway. Can I? Yes. Copy this. Paste this here. Oh, paste this here. Okay. Eventually, people are going to come over here. It's not keeping my paste. I don't think I need any of this other stuff. Okay, here's our first. Shut it down. Here's our first line. This is quite exciting. I really hate that it's purple. That's a terrible color. Get rid of both of these. Get rid of it all. One's going to be gray. It's going to come around this way. The other one can be much darker gray. There we go. All right, so we're going to let that get pumping. At the moment, I don't think I've produced any oil. Can I figure that out? Through my production window, probably, right? Is that how this works? I think it does. Production oil. So we're not producing any oil. We have 113 tons of a deficit. Now we're going to start getting some oil, and we just got the rocket fuel refinery. Now that your oil industry is taking off, we just happen to notice that when refined properly, we have the ability to launch things really high into the air. Refining that special formula is sure to boost our profits to new heights. Well, don't let me stand in the way of a good time. Where are they at? Right here. Rocket fuel refinery. It's not very big. Do we build the rocket fuel refinery over here? I don't feel like it's the right place for it. I feel like it's way too close to everything. I will say this battery has not been working because we aren't producing enough power anymore. So that's something we should consider. I wonder if this is kind of the more industrial part of town. If this rocket fuel refinery could go over here. Like, what if we did this? What if it's totally flat. Let's snap onto everything. And let's go right here. Use the straight tool. Yep. Go just like this. Send this straight on out. Okay. Then I'm going to want to have a nice size parking lot right here. Maybe something like this. Okay. Entrance, exit, nothing crazy, nothing super wild. Pretty straightforward. I'm then going to use an alleyway to surround that building. And we'll get rid of this. Actually, no, we won't. We're going to send this straight on out a little bit further. And just give it a nice little roundabout. Call it a day. Then right next to this can go this oil refinery. Now, I know this is far away. They're going to have to bring that crude oil all the way over here from where it is over there. But eventually, what we'll have to think about, and I think we're going to need to start doing this in the next part, we're going to need to build some trains. Because how valuable would it be to have a train that was connecting from here to here so we could easily move that oil across the map? Kind of like transportation fever, you know? Like, give me that kind of vibe. Now, with all this, I'm going to send this road all the way around the side here, mainly because I can see this rear entrance. Yeah. How many people work here? Could be up to 68. That's exciting. And I am noticing we need highly educated folks to work here as well. Plus 5% industry efficiency citywide. You need 50,000 tons of crude oil. Okay. Something we can work on. Let me just go over here and see how this is doing. It's so far away from everything else we've got. There's a boat. There's a boat. You're transporting goods. You're a super tanker. And what are you doing? You're moving goods too? You are an oil product tanker. If we come over here, we have 6.24 tons in storage, and they're currently profitable, which is great. And again, this is going to be a huge industrial section over here, I think, in the future. All right, so now we've got all that in place. That is exciting. I am going to go ahead. We're still making money. I'm just going to go ahead and buy these. Am I? Yeah, I'm going to just purchase these 3 just to kind of keep this looking pretty clean and nice. I think that's much better. And we will probably need to change this bridge here in the future once we try to get, because I didn't do this before, once we try to get our ferries underneath. I really should have checked on that right from the jump, shouldn't I? Ferries can't make it under. That is not great. Okay. Is it perfect? No. Does it work? Yes. I mean, it basically looks exactly the same. So there's no reason for me to stress about it. Okay. Anybody using this road now that we've got things over there? Not just yet. Not just yet. Let's go ahead and do the next thing on my list, which is I want to build a college. Not a university, a college. Let's go over here to our education and unlock college. And let's also, do we unlock university? Feels too soon. Feels too soon. We're playing slow on purpose. All right, we've got a number of colleges here. Here's the deal. I'm not even going to look at the style yet. I want to look at student capacity. As of right now, we have 1,000 people eligible for college. Not all of them are going to attend. So I'm going to say let's cut that by, I don't know, 20%. 800 people are eligible for college. This holds 6,000. That's a lot. This holds 1,500. That's manageable. This holds 10,000, 10,000, 750, 10,000, 5,000. Although, like, the modern community college, look at that. That's a fun-looking building. It's giving, like, a Chinese style to it. But I wonder once you have the upgrades if it looks different. I would say I could see us having like a Netherlands-style college in here that had been here for a long time, right along the water even. That would be pretty cool. Or it could be over here in like Briarwood Ridge. That's an option. Or we could do the French college, which, although pretty thin, it would fit nicely on the corner somewhere. The only downside is like it's so thin. And I kind of do want it to make somewhat of a statement, and I don't think that's able to do that. What if we were to do this? We were to place it facing this direction along Highland Street. The nanopolymer synthesis unit. Regulators have been asking about what happens when the vehicles that are launched into the air using our fuels come back down. How do they not burn up in the atmosphere? Nanopolymers. That's how. They didn't ask for further elaboration. These regulators are not paying any attention. But now where does this go? Because there's a parking lot there, and I don't know if I want to do it around the parking lot. Or does it go like right here at this very, very busy intersection, but like this is where this college is, and things have built up around it. EE Office, an office building inspired by Eastern European architecture. We are just unlocking everything. I don't even know how much this cost. Oh, that's it. There's no... Oh. I thought they were going to be add-ons, so we're not building that. We're not building that. I think we might go with this. It's $375,000. The challenge to this is that it is kind of an odd shape, and that's either a good thing or a bad thing. If I was to build it along Pemble... See, but then we've got like all these big buildings near each other. I want some space between all those. So what if we built it here? Here's where it's going to go. We're going to grab this road. We're going to send this road straight on up. That's as far as it's going to go. For I don't know what else it's going to do. Not thinking about it yet. It's right there. There she is. And I will go ahead and connect this straight up and in so that we have that connection as well. I think that makes that road a little bit more valuable. And actually, let's do this. Can this connect in here at the 90? It gives me a double intersection, which I don't actually want. So instead, let's connect this road right here. Okay. Right? We're slowly growing outwards. And then I think this college is going to face Carlisle Street. But that might change once I see what else we have going on here. We've got an extension wing, which goes on the one side. A college dormitory, which could go somewhere else. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Because the college paid for this little plot of land. What does this do? Additional 800 capacity. And it has a sport... What? The college has a sports field? We're building a college, guys. Are we going to be able to afford this college? Not entirely sure. I hope we can. But for now, this is happening. Okay, so we have this here. That looks great. Let's go ahead and... Extension wing. I don't know if we need this yet. Like, it just doesn't feel necessary. And we don't really need this yet either. This costs $75,000 to build. And it has $12,000 a month upkeep. But I just think it looks great. And if we're going to build it, let's just do it. So let's go ahead and place this dormitory right here. It fills that whole area in nicely. And I can keep building them. So we could build another dormitory over here in the future if we want. Like, we could buy this parking lot and instead build another dorm. Okay, so for now we're going to have one dormitory, though, with this modern college. Then let's also grab this sports field. If I was to connect it up, I actually want it so that the stadium portion is facing, like, the stands, I guess. I want the back of the stands to be along the main avenue. Basically needs to be here, this road, I think. If we just build that for now, go back over here, grab this. Can I face this way? I can. Okay, so now we gotta like make this look semi-decent. So first things first, I do wonder if this calls for a change to how this area is organized. Because now you have this sunny street, which feels like a second road. Oddly close, but if we did it this way instead, where this was actually, hold on, what if this was actually a pedestrian road right here? We're just going to cross all the way over for the moment just so I can get this to work the way I want. But what if all of this is a pedestrian road? The college paid so that this here would be pedestrianized. We're going to get rid of the bike paths on here because it's the only section that has... Oh, no. They're over there, too. send this all the way up. Bet. Okay, so we're going to have that there. I then do wonder if it maybe would be more valuable to have this building facing this way, but we have this parking lot in the way. There's 2 cars currently in the parking lot, so I'm going to get rid of it. And we're going to place the dorm facing towards this major field. I do think there needs to be trees or something like that back there, but first, I wouldn't mind having maybe a joint path back here, bicycle and bike and walkway. We could go like this. I don't know if I want to do that though. We're just going to send this straight behind here, and I'm going to rotate it so that the pedestrian side is closer to the back of those buildings. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. Are there any buildings I want to add over here that would like kind of support the college? I think all around, like, let's look here. We've got a hospital, which is fine. I guess, are we doing okay with education across the board? So we have 1,400 students eligible for elementary school, and we have 1,500 eligible for high school. So the high school is really the problem. This guy's doing okay. This guy's doing okay. Nobody actually serves Sylvester, so they don't have any schools. And this high school is basically full. So what if there was another high school that could fit over here? Would that be possible? If I go to high schools, how much money do we have? 630? Okay. We could do an EE high school. It's really small. I just feel like that's weird. Small high school doesn't make any sense. That's too big. This is also too big. This high school, I think, could look really great over here. If we were to get rid of that path, it still wouldn't really fit there. But this could easily be interpreted as a building for the college. It just means this is going to have to move. What does this cost to move? Okay, $4,000. Let's just do that. We're going to place this right here in the middle. We're going to briefly pause. Where are you assigned? You're assigned to basically everything over here. This area here doesn't actually have neighborhoods yet. So let's give these neighborhoods, and then that'll help me figure out what goes next. There's going to be some type of neighborhood like this, where like all of this is the college's land. There's going to be housing on it, but for now, that's going to be all one thing. And then this here is going to cross over and actually incorporate all of this. So what we're going to do, I named this little area, which is kind of a groovy shape. I named this after one of these buildings here, Pelican Biofuel. I just named this district Pelican. And then I named this Bolin College, and I gave it a district called Bolin College. Okay, so there we go. We've got all that together. Now what we got to figure out is how this is all actually going to work, because I am struggling. This could go straight, right? If this was a regular road, it went straight, it connected right into here. That is the wrong road. We're going to go and just go boop, boop, boop. Then that also kind of tells me right there that this would be another connection. Does it go all the way through? I don't know yet, but I do know it would go at least there. And if we look here, we have a connection here. So bam, that actually, I think, fills that area out really nicely. I do think we would want some other pieces in the center there. I haven't figured out what happens to this yet. I think there might be some redevelopment here we have to envision. This high school, as we observed, is covering these areas here. I think this high school needs to cover Bolin College, Pelican, Briarwood, Ridge, and Sylvester. Nobody lives in Keyshore Park or Aspen Way right now, so all of those people will go to this Netherlands College. Then I also want to look at these two extensions. Oh, we can hit play. There shouldn't be a pause on this. We can place this along the back, and then this goes along the top. So what are these two buildings? It's an extension wing, an additional 750 students. I hate that it's positioned that way. Oh, man. Okay, hold on. Hold on. We got to do some more movements. We're going to remove Chester Lane. We're actually going to rotate this to be along Highland Street. Reason being, when this extension is in here, that's going to look much nicer than the extension facing underneath of the bridge. And then we have this extension on top. I think it's a science lab, chemistry, laboratory, additional students. We don't need either of those right now, so it's just going to be this parking lot area. I do think we could move this guy still kind of over in this area, like we had before. And then we could give it some trees to hide it like we were trying to do previously. Okay, beautiful. I do think then that these both facing this direction is weird. I know we keep moving this, and it is not cheap to keep moving it. But it needs to go facing this way. Reason being, I'm imagining on the far end of the building is a stairwell. This is a stair tower, and you got all these guys facing the road. So then the residents who are staying here are actually along Eastgate Street, which I would think is a little bit quieter. Let's just decorate this a little bit and get a little bit of zoning in here. I think specifically behind this behind this residence building, this college dorm. That will then, I think, inform a lot. Okay, I only got started on detailing, and I think I have another idea. We knew this was going to happen, but I do think that this road here has to be upgraded. I think this road has to be upgraded to a 4-lane. It's going to get rid of a few large things. It doesn't need to go all the way down, but I do think at least here in front of the college, as well as in this area here, up until... Or I guess no, it can just be here. This area here needs to be an avenue on both sides of the college. It's a busy area. And it makes me wonder if this is actually reworked again so that this is connecting kind of straight up and into this area, maybe with the slightest of curves. It's becoming a huge roundabout, and there's nothing wrong with that. We'll even move this guy over. I've got a few spike spots over there. We'll place this one all the way out there. All the way on the far corner. Because a few people have said, can you make this a roundabout? Let's just see, out of like, for giggles. We could make this a huge roundabout. Kind of leading into the city with trees on it. It does make this a little funky. That works. But now we've got this large roundabout here, which means we don't have to worry about a light. And then the cars can just kind of stream in and do their thing. If I put this on 3 times speed, how does it look? They're getting reoriented. It's a little goofy at the moment. I think also part of the problem here is that there's a little bit more road than there needs to be. There we go. That might help some. Let's see. New batch of cars. Okay. Okay. And we unlocked the Launch Payload Control Center in collaboration with ChirpX. We've designated a state-of-the-art control center to keep track of all the various things we've launched into orbit over the years. I'm overwhelmed. We've unlocked so many things. But that actually is not terrible. It gives us a separate entrance here. It makes me feel like this is just not even necessary anymore. I don't think it is. I think we leave it like that. This road becomes an avenue here, but then it becomes just a pedestrian path because this is all part of the college, and they're prioritizing pedestrian movement, not vehicular movement. I think the whole college is going to have trees along these roads, mainly because this is the college campus. They paid good money to have trees along all the roads. Okay, yeah. So the trees are all sections that are technically the college's campus. There we go. What did we just unlock? We did unlock some new things. We got 2 new buildings. Where do they live? Are they both in here? Here's this one, the Launch Payload Control Center. It's a science building of some kind, which is very cool. We'll have to find out where that could go. And we have the EE offices, which actually, these could work perfect in here. We have the EE offices right there as a part of this college campus. It almost fits perfectly. Then what that means is right back here, I think this becomes another big parking lot. Here. Let's grab an alleyway. Send the alleyway straight on out. And then right behind here, either we place one like this or we build our own. Let's see. This would fit just fine. Moderate parking lot. There's also the large parking lot. That won't fit. A moderate parking lot, though. If this was right here, what does that look like? That kind of looks perfect to me. I'm a fan. I'm going to move this guy back down because we don't want that connected in that way. Get rid of this little bush. And then I think what we do here is we fill all of this with trees after we place down a little path. Because again, we want to prioritize the pedestrian movements where possible. Let's snap this to the side of this building. Snap this to the side of this building. Send this straight on down and over. Can you connect underneath? You really can, which is kind of crazy. You don't need to, but the fact you can is so cool. And then I am going to give the illusion that these are connected, but don't worry. This is all going to be hidden with trees, so you're not going to actually see much of this anyway. Look at that. That is a gorgeous university. So I think for now, what we're going to do with this spot, I think we're going to fill this with a parking lot. Mainly because it's an easy thing for us to come back later and say, you know what, let's change that into something a little bit more useful. So for now, we're going to place this parking lot here along Carlisle Street, and the rest of this is going to be filled with more, you guessed it, trees. There we go. That's actually a beautiful college campus. It's huge in comparison to the rest of the city, but it's exactly what we needed here. All right, we're gonna keep an eye out here for public transit. So what I'm thinking is if we look, we've already got some stops right here, which basically serve the college. But I also want to get a little bit more connections with our current bus line. So we have this one bus line that's going from the farming area straight on down through Old City. And then it does do some weird kind of like jumps and dances over here that I don't necessarily love. And I wonder if that's the best spot for that. Instead, I think what we do is we curve that bus lane, and it comes up this direction and kind of stops over here around this roundabout. We'll utilize this set of, actually, no, we won't. We're going to change this up a little bit. We're going to instead place 2 new bus stops right there in the middle of that road. We're going to skip this here, and we're going to place 2 new bus stops right over here, which actually you don't even need 2. Get rid of this one since that's along the riverfront. And that should be more than enough. Then what I want to do is I want to grab these 2 stops, go ahead and remove them, get rid of that, and then instead of this stopping here, it's going to come over this direction and stop here, come further down, stop here. You're going to do a full-on turnaround. And you're going to come back down and stop right here. And the reason I'm stopping here and not here, even though this is where our school and our office is because there's so much going on here in terms of density for residents. It's a bit closer to their homes. I just think all around that works better. We'll get rid of those 2 stops. We'll get rid of these 2 stops. They're old news. We don't need them. Then let me just go back and double check this. We've got a stop here, stop set here, a stop here. I'm happy with that. And we could actually put this back here. Here's why. We're going to put that back there. We're going to reconnect this up to this guy. We're going to disconnect this one, get rid of this. Now, at least one side has the bike path going through, which I think is helpful. But now we've got a new connection there, which is great. I do think we're not going to fill out all of this today, this section of Pelican, but I am going to do slight mulligan here with our zoning now that we've figured out how this is going to look. This is going to go here. Then these 2 are going to go back and be backed up a little bit. This is going to go right to here and connect into here. And then Pelican's actually going to reach in here. Just like so. There we go. So the college is there, but Pelican's this weird district that fills in this further end. Now, I'm going to just quickly fill in this area with some housing. I think that would look really nice. It'd be a great way to kind of tie all this in a nice little bow. We are going to use platter for this because do they have 4 deeps? I don't think they do. They only have 3 deeps. Okay. Not a problem. We're going to go 3 deep, go all the way along. I'm going to stick this right here. Go ahead and turn on snap to adjoining platters. This whole road is going to be covered with homes. Then what I'm thinking is we will have, is this too close? I don't think so. I really don't. I know some people get frustrated by how close some of my intersections can be, but I do think some of them need to be that close, and it's totally fine. We're going to do something like this. Yeah, we're gonna do something like this. Because now what we can do is we can come in here. Let's turn off this guy here. We'll do a set of 2s. Yeah, we'll do a set of 2s there. And then this will all be a set of 3s. Right? But then this here would also be a set of 2s. There we go. We've got this new little neighborhood here. I'm loving how densely packed it is. I like that it's all on little lanes. They don't have parking, but luckily there are 2 parking lots here and there's another big parking lot right down the road. I do think in this area here we might consider adding some type of parking lot. We'll figure that out in the next part. What I do want to do to wrap this up is think of 2 things. Thing number 1, we need a taxi stand. I need a taxi shelter that we can have access to. I think what I'd like to try, I mean, I didn't know you could place them along the pedestrian path. So I'm going to place one right here in the middle. That's going to be used for sports games. We'll also place one right over here near the entrance to our university, or excuse me, our college. This is a little bit of a dead space here. I think that's okay. We've got some all around by big things, which is all that really matters. And maybe we place one more over here somewhere. I don't know. Actually, yeah, we're going to place one more over here on the other side of the farmer's market. I actually never placed any over here. So in lieu of destroying all too much, we'll place one right there. We'll place another one over here near this big guy. And that's really, maybe we'll do one more. We'll do one more right over here by the Ferris wheel. But at the moment, there's not a lot of big stuff over here. There's no schools. There's not a lot of services. So that's not a great spot to worry about. And then the last thing I want to do, just to make sure we don't forget this in the future, is we're going to need some bike parking up here. We don't have any. So if we look, we have a bike station here and a bike stop here. Both of those are for the buses, which have very, very limited parking. So we're going to want to think of some other solutions as well. I could place down some of these little bicycle parking areas, but because this is a college, I would imagine there'd be a little bit larger of infrastructure built out. Okay, it's $54,000, but we're going to place that right there because although it's huge, what is this? Side entrances. Shut it down. Shut it down. That's awesome. You can have another entrance somewhere. Although I think I noticed this last time. Like the radius for the second entrance is really not all that great. Like what I'd love to do is anarchy this entrance right over here. But you know, I don't like to use anarchy that much, so we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it just like that. That's perfect. That's beautiful. We've got multiple parking lots over here now, so people can start parking. And we've got this brand new college campus, Bowling College. We've got a new bike bridge. We've got some better connectivity. We expanded some roads. I will, having done all of this, we will go ahead and downgrade this road back into a normal 4-lane road versus the 6-lane road we had briefly. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members-only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Lorelai, follow your dad out. I can't have your tippy taps. I can't edit them out. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in Cities Skylines 2, playing our city of... Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in Hey guys, my god.